morning. Yesterday we have seen the structure of muscle spindle. I hope all of you must have read everything. It's too difficult to understand without understanding the anatomy of this particular part in every system actually, but it becomes very difficult to understand the CNS functions. So what we were yesterday seeing is the structure of muscle spindle. Just to revise again, okay, I will just go through the particular figure which we have seen yesterday. Okay, so what we have seen is this particular figure which is showing the muscle spindle having intrafusal fibers and extrafusal fibers. Now we are going to continue with the yesterday's discussion. What exactly you concentrate only on the intrafusal fibers. Now what it is having? The intrafusal fibers will be again of two types. One of that is nuclear bag muscle fibers and nuclear chain fibers. Now these nuclear bag muscle fibers, as the name suggests, it is a bag-like structure and that is expanded or congregated into the central part of the receptor area. Now you have to remember that intrafusal fibers, the central part is the receptor area. So this particular thing will be having these two fibers. So nuclear bag is bag-like structure and they are around 1 to 3 in each spindle. Now the second part is nuclear chain fibers. As the name suggests, it will be very short, half in the diameter, and they will be aligned as a chain throughout the receptor area. Now the primary sensory nerve is excited by both the nuclear bag fibers and nuclear chain fibers, whereas the nuclear chain fiber is excited only by the secondary phase. So what you have to remember is that muscle spindle intrafusal fibers are of two types. Nuclear bag fiber, which are having the innervation by both the nuclear primary as well as the secondary nerve endings, and the nuclear chain fibers, which are chain-like structures and they are innervated only by the secondary end. Coming to the figure again. So this is the figure only of the intrafusal fibers. One of that is nuclear bag-like structure, and the second one is nuclear chain. So it is a chain-like structure. So basically only it is a intrafusal fibers. Now concentrate on the innervations. So if you have primary, this primary will be supplying, the primary group A fibers will be supplying to both nuclear bag fibers as well as nuclear chain fibers. But the secondary is having innervation only to the nuclear chain fibers. So these things you have to remember. And coming to the efferent part, we can see two types are there. There are dynamic type and the static type of gamma fibers. We are going to see what exactly they are doing. So these are two types of fibers. So one response by the spindle is given as static response and the second response is given as a dynamic response. When, say for example, a muscle is stretched but the stretching of this particular muscle is very slow, then the number of impulse transmissions in both the primary as well as the secondary will be according to the degree of stretching, and it will continue to transmit these impulses for several minutes. Now this happens particularly when the receptor portion is stretched very slowly, and this particular response is known as static response. So what happens if there is a slow contraction? Then both the primary as well as the secondary will be stimulated and they will transmit their impulses according to the degree of stretching, and that will continue for several minutes. So this is static response. Coming to the next type of response, which is dynamic response. This particular dynamic response, as the name suggests, whenever there is a rapid stretching of the muscle receptor, then only the primary endings, which are the innervation, will be sensing this rapid rate of change in the spindle. And either they will cause a positive reaction, that is increase in the length of muscle, or a negative reaction, that is decrease in the length of muscles. So these are the responses which are given by the muscle spindle receptor: static, slow, dynamic, rapid. How it is controlled? As we have seen that it is controlled by gamma dynamic fibers and gamma static fibers. So if it is a gamma dynamic fibers, it will be exciting mainly the nuclear bag fibers, whereas gamma static fibers mainly the nuclear chain fibers. So this is how the control of intensity of the responses is done by these motor neurons. We have seen in the particular figure. So this is what is the particular figure which we have discussed. Now with this particular anatomy, since last two lectures I am discussing only the functional anatomy and the important parts of the spinal cord. Now with this functional anatomy, the cord along with the brain structures is performing some of the reflexes. Now today we are going to discuss what these different type of reflexes are, how they are going to happen inside the body. So we will start with the first reflex, that is muscle stretch reflex. Now what exactly it is? Whenever a muscle is stretched, suddenly excitation of the spindle causes reflex contraction of the large skeletal muscle fibers of the stretched muscle, and along with that there will be contraction of the synergistic muscles also. So this is what is stretch reflex. So if there is a stretching of the muscle spindle, it will excite the spindle receptor and it will cause a reflex contraction of the muscle. It's very normal activity which we can very commonly we can see this. Now this is the neuronal circuit for the neuronal stretch reflex. Okay, so you can see the muscle, and inside the muscle you have the muscle spindle. Now you know that this is the receptor for detecting the change in the length or the tension. So this muscle spindle will be again having the intrafusal fibers, the extrafusal fibers, all we have discussed. So whenever there is a stretch, this muscle spindle is detecting the change, and the sensory nerves which are innervating this muscle spindle will carry the particular impulse to the spinal cord via the posterior route. And suppose there are interneurons, it will be integrated there. Otherwise, the information will be carried back again via the motor nerve to the skeletal muscle, and there will be a reflex contraction. So this is the neuronal circuit of the stretch reflex, which is very commonly whatever activity we are doing at day-to-day basis, this is what happens. So remember, any movement like contraction of the hand, contraction of the leg, contraction of the fingers, any of these activities, they are performed by this particular neuronal circuit. This again will be of two types. Now all of you know that we have just discussed what is static response and what is dynamic response. So dynamic response is whenever there is rapid response. So elicited by the potent dynamic signal transmitted from the primary sensory endings of the muscle spindle and due to rapid stretch or unstretch, and it occurs within fraction of a second. Whereas the static response is continuous for a prolonged period thereafter also, and elicited by the continuous static receptor signals transmitted by both primary and the secondary degree, and it causes the degree of muscle contraction to remain reasonably constant. I'll give you one example. Say for example, you have to lift a bucket. No, you can lift a bag, your bag with books. Okay, so what you have to do is contract your hand muscles and lift the bag. Okay, so this is your dynamic reflex. So suddenly जर पडलं की मला आता खाली उचलावं लागेल. So that is a dynamic reflex. But after this particular contraction, you have to carry in your hand for a long distance. And this particular contraction of the hand you have to maintain. Say for example, तुम्ही एकदा बॅग उचलली, that is a dynamic reflex, आणि ती उचललेली बॅग तुम्हाला थोड्या अंतरावर हाताने घेऊन जायची. So that is a static response. So what you require a continuous state of contraction for a particular activity to be done. But this is dependent on the spinal cord stretch reflex. Okay, I hope it is very clear. Now, along with this stretch reflex, what happens is that whenever signals are transmitted from the motor cortex or from any other area of the brain to the alpha motor neurons, most of the instances the gamma motor neurons are also stimulated. Okay, so we have seen yesterday that there are two types, alpha and gamma. Gamma are smaller fibers, and whenever the alpha motor fibers are also stimulated, these gamma motor neurons are also stimulated, and this mechanism is known as co-activation, and this is done via the higher centers. So whenever the cord is working, the higher center is also giving the information to other parts of the brain. This gamma efferent system is excited specifically by the signals from the bulboreticular facilitatory region of the brainstem and by impulses transmitted into the bulboreticular area from the cerebellum, the basal ganglia, and the cerebral cortex. So it receives impulses from the higher part of the brain. So it receives impulses from the cortex, the basal ganglia, and the cerebellum. So while doing that particular activity, what actually your body should do is not only hand, it has to have some particular action which should be planned, and this particular information will be given by these higher centers to the brainstem, and it goes to the bulboreticular function. As if you remember my previous lectures, in that I have mentioned that reticular area is the area of the brain which gives you alertness. So you are alert enough to do the further activity. So this is how the stretch reflex inside our body, whatever contractions, whatever movements inside our body are occurring, this is how they are occurring. Now what are the clinical applications of the stretch reflex? In the examination, I know for the BDS students, this examination is not there in the examination, but if you are interested, you can request your teachers and you can see the demonstrations of these reflexes. So what you have is a knee jerk and other muscle jerks. So what different type of skeletal muscles are there, and these the skeletal muscles will be innervated as a tendon to the bony parts, and with the help of a hammer you have to give a stimulus, and this stimulus will excite to give the dynamic stretch reflex. Here the example of the knee jerk is given. So suppose on the knee there is a patellar tendon, and on the patellar tendon, if you are hitting with a hammer, then this causes the stretching, and as it is a rapid, it will give you dynamic stretch reflex, and that will cause a forward movement of the lower leg. So this is what normally there. Now why it is important clinically? That if there are large lesions in the motor areas of the cortex but not in the lower motor control areas, that causes greatly exaggerated muscle jerks, and that too in the muscles on the opposite side of the body. So whenever a patient comes, what you have to do is examine this particular patient and examine the jerk. If the jerk of these particular patients are exaggerated, then you can say that it might be the lesion in the motor areas of the cerebral cortex. So you can further investigate that particular patient. There also is an abnormal thing which is known as clonus, and these are commonly termed as oscillations of muscle jerks. You must have seen in your vicinity also, neighborhood also, in house also, that some of the time the muscle contractions are very jerky. They are oscillating, and this particular phenomenon is known as clonus. Okay. Why the clonus occurs? Whenever the facilitatory impulses from the brain are tremendous, this continues, the contraction will continue as an oscillation, and the muscle will show the vibratory movement or oscillatory movement of that particular part. So this is what is the red part is patellar tendon jerk, and you give the knee jerk, there will be contraction, again there will be a relaxation. But if it is a clonus, which is here in this particular figure, it's shown on the ankle, it will be giving continuous contraction. So what you have is vibratory movement. They are not able to finish that particular movement. Okay, so that is the problem, the normal thing of the stretch reflex. Coming to the Golgi tendon reflex, we have seen yesterday the Golgi tendon. We are going to see this particular Golgi